today on 15 on 15.
More and more tourists are opting for private homes and apartments as accommodations. There has been a growth of 69.2% for the month of September. Plus, the holidays are just around the corner. We'll give you the tips to maintain your diet. And Prime Minister Ayman thanks, as well acknowledges tourists from New York who has chosen Aruba as their annual vacation for 25 years. Thanks for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. Statistics have been released regarding cruise tourism traffic year to date. Take a look. In September, Aruba saw a 24.1% increase in the number of cruise passengers compared with September last year. Year to date, there have been 25 fewer calls, resulting in a decline of 2.7% in the overall number of cruise passengers this year so far. January 2014 has been the best month yet, with 50 cruise ship calls, bringing in more than 97,000 passengers. It is important to note that as soon as slow season approached, fewer and fewer cruise ships have docked at APA. Another aspect that policymakers for the tourism industry need to take note of is the amount of private residences being offered to visitors as accommodation. This ultimately impacts hotel businesses. Aruba Tourism Authority released information regarding place of stay for visitors in 2014 so far. These numbers were based on the information provided by visitors on the immigration cards upon arriving to Aruba. In September, the number of visitors staying in hotel accommodation increased by 4.8%. Those staying in a timeshare resort grew by 4.4%. And the one statistic that is most important for everyone to take note of is that those staying in apartments, guest houses, or private homes grew by almost 70% at 69.2%. If the trend of tourists opting for private homes or apartments as accommodations continues, the hotel industry on the island will suffer. Therefore, tourism stakeholders and policymakers needs to be made aware of this. In other local news, over the weekend, golfers helped out 6 foundations on the island. A charity golfing event at Tierra del Sol generated close to 200,000 florins in funding at Tierra del Sol for the charity golf event. Even ATV's Kadoji Kok tried his best to hit a few hole-in-ones. It was an active and fun day, but most importantly, the donations given out by the sponsors was the best part.
We are very, very pleased, very, very honored that you are here golfing today, but more importantly, that you have partnered and sponsored this event to help Aruba Way raise the funds necessary to provide these well-deserving foundations the funds that they need to continue to do a positive impact in our community.
At the end of a long golf day, 6 checks were handed out in total to various foundations in need of funding to further provide for the community. The sum of donation grew bigger and bigger after each check. The donations started at 5,000 florins and ended at 76,000 florins. Each foundation was assessed to determine what it is they needed in order to optimize their functions. From there, the amount of donation was decided on. Golfers left happy, representatives from the foundations as well, and even the organizers of the charity golf event saw it as a big success. And moving forward, on Sunday, the island's largest awareness walk took place. Before the walking began, Zumba was the warm-up. Participants of the 11th Mary Joan Foundation Awareness Walk used Zumba as their stretching session to gear up for the big walk. Dressed in pink and white, thousands of people gathered at Plaza Petico Cruz to join the fight in bringing awareness to breast cancer. It was a huge turnout. Most of the attendees have seen a loved one suffer or die from the breast cancer disease. Members from the Mary Joan Foundation plan on continuing to organize the event. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll give you the perfect guide to holiday eating. Whether you like it or not, those end-of-the-year parties with lots of great food and drinks are coming up faster than you think. Then, to itch or not to itch? A mosquito bite. I think you know the answer to that one, but I'll give you the scientific explanation. And makers of smartphones have pretty much done everything possible with the device. But I want you to think of one thing manufacturers haven't been able to come up with. We are going to show you what that is coming up, so stay with us. Yes, what does this Japanese phone have that yours doesn't? Well, like I just said, stick around to find out. Thanks for staying tuned to 15 on 15. The holiday season is fast approaching. Some would even say that it is already here. So you know what that means. Prepare yourself for a lot of good food and drinks. Here is a guide to somewhat control your weight gain for the upcoming few weeks. The fact is, we can eat anything we want, but it is all about moderation. For one, counting carbohydrates is important. As far as other foods concerned that contain carbs, this includes fruits, dairy, starchy vegetables, and grains. Another tip is to cut back on sodium. If you are hosting a holiday party this year, make sure to buy broths and soups that say low in sodium or no salt added. The average recommended daily intake of salt is around 2,300 milligrams of sodium. Also, do your best to consume less saturated or trans fat. Remember, there are fats that can keep the heart healthy, but there is always healthier options, so take time to look at grams of fats and calories on labels. You should also consume protein with every meal. Try to choose leaner cuts of meat, such as chicken, fish, or even pork. An easy way to cut out some of the fats is to not eat the skin, but if it really is the best part, try to eat half of the skin, not all of it. Last but certainly not least, there's dessert. If you are hosting a holiday party this year, do your best to limit the sugar intake by replacing sugar with ingredients such as cinnamon or allspice. Also, try to use fresh fruit for all desserts. And I'm sure you've noticed it's mosquito season here in Aruba. Everywhere you head outdoors, the bugs are swarming. Well, if you do have a mosquito bite, leave it because itching a scratch only intensifies the itch. Researchers say itching and scratching is a vicious cycle. Research into itching has indicated why scratching can paradoxically make you feel more itchy. A study in mice found that scratch cycles get harder and harder to break because of serotonin released into the system. The research indicates that blocking specific serotonin receptors in the spine could reduce chronic itching. Dermatologists say the research could help towards effective itch control. Itchiness can be caused by a number of factors ranging from very minor irritation by dust and small hairs to serious skin conditions. One of the purpose of scratching is to produce pain. This disrupts the itch by getting nerves to carry pain signals instead of itch signals. I think we can all agree the smartphone market is pretty saturated. Manufacturers from all over the world are continuously seeking ingenious ways to stand out. Well, how about if you give users an emotional connection to the device? Check it out. Giving your smartphone a personality. I think this is innovation at its finest. The main selling point of this mobile device is the emotional factor. The Japanese manufacturer doesn't just tell you what the date, time, and weather is, they work it into a conversation.
Drop it.
Itai.
And it says, ouch.
So you will be more careful. And if you have a big meeting the next day scheduled, the phone will advise you to go to bed early. Furthermore, if it needs to be recharged, she will ask you politely to do so. The catch here would be you'd have to understand the Japanese language pretty well to communicate with the device. The phone is set for the Japanese market in December. Let's see if it makes its way over to us. I'd say she beats Apple's Siri though. Let's take a quick break. Here's what's coming up next. Find out why Aruba has such a high repeat visitor rate. Next. Aruba is an island where its tourism industry has thrived on repeat visitors. Many tourists have been coming here for decades annually. A couple from New York who has made Aruba their second home for 25 years received a visit from the Prime Minister. Prime Minister Mike Amon personally acknowledged and thanked Mr. and Mrs. Hunter's loyalty to the island. In the last 25 years, the couple has spent 3 weeks here on the island on an annual basis. They discovered the island thanks to a very generous wedding gift.
We first came here as a wedding honeymoon gift, and we loved the place so much we immediately bought 2 weeks and then bought another week. So we look forward to being here every year for at least 3 weeks.
Scott says throughout the 25 years, he has done his best to embrace the Papiamento language and pick up a few phrases.
I try. And sometimes when not hearing it, you have to make up what you think it is, and it's been wrong an awful lot. But I enjoy saying bon dia, bon noche, bon noche, especially to Gabi. It has a private meaning. And usually I could say pasa un bon tarde and be answered back, and then I can say igualmente. I can say cantabai. I can say some things, but not many.
Perhaps one of the reasons the pair loves coming to the island is the amount of local friends they have made.
Oh, yes. The entire Nunez family, the entire Werleman family, Nina, Rafaela, Gabi, Ophelia.
Scott went on to name many more friends. 25 years is a long commitment. Mr. Hunter explains what it is he loves about Aruba so much that has gotten him to choose the same place for his yearly vacation destination.
Number one, the Arubans, the service, definitely the climate, the hospitality and friendship, and the loyalty that the Aruban people give to its visitors. The visitors should be very pleased and very proud that they're accepted in such fine fashion day after day after day by these wonderful people, not just from here, but the entire island. Restaurants, waiters, people on the street, cars, shop owners, all been wonderful people.
Aruba has many visitors who have been coming here for decades. The Aruba Tourism Authority has done their best to acknowledge each and every one of them as they reach that milestone. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back here on Wednesday night with all the latest, so we'll see you then.